with guns in the air and you walk in with that.
It just shows how brave I am, or how stupid, one or the other. They just like that I can fix their stuff.
Just leave.
Boy, Great man.
Thanks. Al Williams Painting, 200 for Shop at the Cop. Kevin and Michelle Peterson, $50. That's what we got for, I believe you got a resolution that's got to be
Yes,
signed.
we do.
For these checks.
Coming down the road.
Other than that, with the election being over with, everything's nice and quiet,
Yeah.
back to normal. Other than that, that's about it. Any questions?
Did you have Shop with the Cop already?
Yeah,
Okay.
last week Thursday.
How they went well?
It did go well. Oh, I know I can talk about Lights of Christmas. Carl and I and Sergeant Krieger, John Krieger, went over to Van de Vest Harley. And we put all these goodie things together. They're like backpacks, got all kinds of stuff. And essentials for people, hats, mittens, toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo. And then we collected $3,000 of gift cards from Culver's, Quick Trip, Walmart to distribute to people who look like they could use it. So it was amazing. There was probably 150 cops there. Wow. Chiefs, one sheriff from Langley County was there.
Yeah, represented 55 departments. I don't know if you watch Facebook, when we were at Culver's at the late part of summer and stuff, that translated into this Lights of Christmas, the collection and everything else that they call it the handoff. And then all the departments got a package to anybody that's needy in the community that it's really good entity to have for that type.
2 gift cards are $250 each if someone's really down on their luck.
Wow.
One agency had those last year and a guy's trailer house flooded. So they went in there with law enforcement, peeled his floor up, went to Menards, put a whole new floor in for him. So it was really a big deal. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
So,
Very impressive.
oh, and I met with the Tavern League yesterday. They're excited that our relationship with the sheriff's and me can continue. They're real happy. So that's important to keep the Tavern League partners.
Partners.
Yep.
The Shop with the Cop amount, is that more or less than average, or?
For the Shop at the Cop, we just get donations. We actually,
I know, but I mean, but is that,
it's robust.
yeah, I mean, it's fantastic, but I just,
We
my
don't,
curiosity gets me whether that's bigger or smaller or.
we don't spend near what we have. And what has happened now, Clintonville and New London do their own Shop at the Cop.
Okay,
So we're getting less involvement in ours,
okay,
so it means less kids.
yeah. I
think
think
it
a couple years
changes every
ago,
year.
Marion was down here, but I don't remember. But
I don't believe there was any state patrol or DNR at this last one. Typically there is.
okay. Awesome,
But yeah, it's a good thing.
yeah.
So is this Lights of Christmas. I mean, it's awesome.
Any other comments or questions for Sheriff? Medical examiner's report, please.
All right, so for November, we had 46 natural deaths, 28 were hospice, 6 were house deaths, 4 were ER, 24-hour deaths, 2 nursing home, no CVRF, and 6 cremation permits. There was 1 accidental death. It was a female driver who passed away like 10 days after the accident. She was actually discharged and then had to be discharged to a rehab clinic, had to be brought back. And State Patrol wrote the accident report, so I've been dealing with them on it. She did have an autopsy because another person caused the crash, so there's probably gonna be charges in that. No suicides, homicides, there's 2 pending autopsies, and for a total of 49 deaths. 10 were burials, 39 were cremations. 2 of those were with cap funded, and 1 I waived the cremation permit for 49. So 3 autopsies, 1 was at Fond du Lac and 2 were at UW-Madison. That's all I got.
Got autopsies going okay?
Yeah, actually they are.
Fun with?
So, yeah, since he brought that up, so one thing that is happening is with the changeover of DAs. I used to go to have autopsies done at Fond du Lac just because it was closer. Sometimes he is a little jammed up. So when they have to wait like a week plus, then I usually try to do it down at UW-Madison. And recently I was at a death where the DA, assistant DA was at, who may be the new DA. I guess I'm still waiting to find out. But I told her on my way to that scene that I called to make arrangements for an autopsy at Fond du Lac. And she says, we don't want our autopsies at Fond du Lac anymore, that we don't care for the findings or whatever, and that they wanted them done at UW-Madison, which I had the autopsy done at UW-Madison then. But just so you know, I mean, cost wise, there's only like $100 difference. But for transport, there's like a $200 to $300 difference. So I'm fine with my budget. I have plenty of money budgeted for that because you can never foresee how much your autopsies or how many you're going to do that year. But does anyone know when we're going to know who the DA is?
I know the applicant is interviewing with the governor tomorrow.
Okay. Because I know that our current DA's last day is the 17th, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So that's that.
Oh,
What?
oh, go ahead, you're doing good.
Doing just fine.
Well, that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah, thank you.
But can we just go on to the next thing about the work cap?
I think you can, yes.
Okay.
I was gonna ask about that.
So this is an informational brochure, I don't know if you need it, on WIFCAP and what it is. And it's mainly it's Wisconsin Funeral and Cemetery Age Program through the state of Wisconsin through Health and Human Services. It's something that I do not deal with, but the funeral homes do. And there's supposed to be an 8-page application process. The problem is that these funeral homes are now coming back to me saying that some of the people that I would think would qualify, because when I go to the desk, I see that they may have a Quest card, or the family tells me that they're disabled for some reason, or that they receive state benefits. When the funeral homes are calling down to see if they qualify for this funding, they're told yes or no with no explanation. They can't ask for an explanation, and then they can't, usually the family will pay. But I have 4 situations where the family is not paying, or there is just no family. So the first one, I have like the person's names and stuff, and he has no family whatsoever. The friend who has a child with them found a funeral home or a cremation society down in Beloit for a cost of $1,050. She's like, this gentleman was on the ankle bracelet. He's one that I had an autopsy done. I had the body just held over in Appleton until the friend and I could determine how we were going to handle the situation, because there is no family to pay for any of these costs. He doesn't qualify for WIF cap. The funeral home, the cremation price was $1,050. So I paid for it out of my contract funds. And I don't know if this is something that I can do. I have the funding for it. I just don't have it like a line item for it. So I just paid for it out of contracted services because it's basically a contracted service. So there's other examples here of similar situations. And what I'm wondering is, so I contacted like Outagamie County, Winnebago County, they both have a policy written where they paid no more than $500, which I find is really, it's really nothing. I mean, the funeral homes aren't getting anything. There's Waupaca County, I have information attached with your stuff. Their ordinance that they wrote, I don't know if I really want to go that in depth with it. I kind of gave you this information. I want you to review it and we can come back next month and go through it. Or the last one that I actually showed Diane is the burial assistance program. And that's through Milwaukee County's Aging and Disability. And this is how they handle it and their pricing on that. Diane liked that because it's basically you're paying what with cap would have paid, where they don't pay any more than $1,950. So that is why I wanted to bring it up, because this is something that's in November. I've had 3 situations where for all these years, I even talked to Barry, and there really hasn't been a situation like this, but all the Valley funeral homes are also running into this. This isn't something that's going to go away. So I figured that we need to start to make some sort of policy, or if you can just direct me, is this something that I should be talking to Aging and Disability to get a policy set?
Historically, the $500, by the way, was decades ago. Department of
Right.
Health and Human Services, or it used to be Social Services, had a figure of that, of $500 they paid for a conventional, not even a cremation, but just a regular burial. And we used to have where people would donate plots to the county to have this available to them for indigent individuals on that. Health and Human Services Committee last week talked about this a little bit.
I think it's because I
You
was
brought up the-
emailing Ted and all
Right.
them about it,
And
because I
historically-
wanted an answer on why some of these individuals are not meeting this WIF cap.
Yeah, and they don't, apparently. There's like 15, 18 different criteria they could. You have to be on a medical assistance or Medicaid or da. There's a bunch of programs you have to be on, but historically, I think when you said the other counties had a $500 figure, whatever it is, that probably came out of decades ago when there was social services and they were responsible for this sort of thing. In my mind, it doesn't matter which agency has it. It's not a huge figure, certainly for Health and Human Services. I'm not talking out of turn, Mr. Kevin, for Murphy's, Chairman Murphy's concerns of budgets, but the fact is, it's not a huge amount. As you stated, you really haven't had much experience. Barry didn't have much experience on that, and certainly I think could be something if you want to and work with someone to put together some kind of a policy, procedure, protocol, something that says, okay, this is someone we would take. That because if you've gone through these different procedures of checking this, that, and the other thing out, and I don't have a problem, unless someone on the board here has a problem with you having a few dollars, as it were, as you stated, in your contracted, or if you want to give an actual line item, I mean, you could do that too. But this year is kind of already done. You got money in your contracted section for you to bring something up like this as needed would be fine. But you probably should have some kind of a protocol for it. That said, I did this, this, and this, to show that there wasn't additional monies could be gotten from another agency or something like that. Or if you wish to, you can, pursue the fact of handing it over to Health and Human Services too. I mean, that's another issue is we could have them.
And I don't mind doing this.
Yeah.
The policy, the ordinance that Waupaca County has,
Mhm.
I don't want to dive that deeply into it
Right.
because she actually goes through and she's like the executor of people's estates so that they can get to the bottom dollar of this. And that's one of the examples that I have in here if for the female
Yeah.
is that they're the only living relative is a half sister whom she has never met. And that half sister is like, I will sign for the body to be cremated, but I am not going to be held financially liable for this. And I do not want to be the executor of this person's will because I don't know them. So then the funeral, I found a family friend or a friend of this lady, and I said, can you contact her and see if she will do it? Because I know that there's a car that can be sold and stuff. I don't want to be responsible for selling
Correct.
people's belongings. I mean, I don't think that's my job. I think that the funeral home should be working with these people and trying to find someone. And that's why they have attorneys too. I mean, I know that all of this is going to keep costing money to these funeral homes, but I don't know what else to do. So,
It might be advisable to spend some time and talk to our court counsel as to, and if you haven't already,
yeah, I already did.
and be more specific to her as, this is definitely what we don't want to be.
Right,
involved
and
in.
I'd never shared this one with Waupaca with her because I don't want to go into that process. But I did share Milwaukee counties and she's like, I like how that's written. So she's more apt, and I'll go into it more with her, but I just wanted the committee to know that this is a situation that I think we're gonna see a lot more of. And down in the valley, it's gotten to the point where they have bought Larry's Livery Service where they basically transport all these bodies and hold them for all these funeral homes. They purchased a machine where they put the body into a bag and it basically gets shrink wrapped so that the body can be held for indefinite periods of time until this process can be handled. Because these cheap budget cremation societies will not pick up a body until they have money in hand. And that's why I felt that I could pay this $1,050 so that this body could be released. Or they would still be holding on to it. So, but otherwise, other funeral homes are, like Holly's, it's like, yeah, if they're gonna sign that the person can get cremated, we'll deal with the money issue later. And that's where I'm, with these other three, that's where I'm at. So.
But I think you showed very good judgment, taking care of this, respect for, the deceased and everything else, and the rest of us to be aware of. Somebody at least is looking out for us in that way. But you may want to look at, like I say, talking with Diane some more. And maybe it's one of those things where I think historically, and I'm talking back 40, 50 years now, social services, which is now Health and Human Services, used to deal with that. They used to deal with that, and it may be something where it comes down to where it becomes their bureaucracy to have to actually figure out how the process and how to burial and all these kinds of things, and utilize their support staff and everything to investigate to see if everything possibly can be collected money-wise and legally everything done properly and what, rather than placing it on your small staff and your small budget.
Yeah.
And I know on that. So.
Well, and I did bring that up to Ted through one of the emails. I said, you have a bigger department, you have more funding coming from the state. And it wasn't exactly the greatest receipt, so.
It's not a large, in his budget, it's not a large amount. I mean, if you're talking a few $1,000s perhaps in a given year.
I mean, yeah, in one
it's a small
year,
amount of money. So we'll have
it
to,
may only be one person, but
I think it's talking to, when you talked to Diane already, perhaps we should bring this up and see if we can't bring it up to the Health and Human Services Board at our next meeting in January. You know, you can talk to Jerry Murphy, the chairman on that, or Ted even, you know, and have them just, bring it up so we can discuss it openly in public,
okay,
allowing us to do that. And once again, I can say historically, still departments have dealt with that.
mhm,
And you can just deal with the other parts of your job that you have. They're very, very important. But anyway, that would be my comment on that. Is that why don't you see if you can't get on the Health and Human Services Board? I'll mention it to Jerry at the county board meeting that I made mention to that as well. So he's a little prepared by us type of thing. So any other comments or anything, Mr.
Just
Chairman?
for what it's worth, probably doesn't make any difference, but Mrs. Colada is part of West Shore County.
what's that?
Mrs. Colada, Donna, good friend of mine, she didn't make it out of the general election,
Oh,
so she's not a part of, just for the record, just so you know.
okay,
Great lady.
Anything else? Any comments? Very good. Thank you for bringing this up. Like I said, last week I heard about it. Good to hear more about it.
mhm,
Okay, now we're down to the resolution number 33 for donations. It says, whereas Waupaca County has a policy requiring resolution by the county board of supervisors to accept donations over $1,000. And whereas Waupaca County has received a donation in the amount of $1,000 from Wise for Kids, Inc. for the purpose of supporting Waupaca County Sheriff's Office, Shop with a Cop, $3,000 from Bank First, $2,500 from Peterson, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, $1,586 from Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin for the purpose of supporting the Waupaca County Sheriff's Office dive team, as well as $2,500 from Peterson, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram for the purpose of supporting the Waupaca County Sheriff's Office K-9. Now therefore be resolved that the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors accepts $1,000 from Wise for Kids, Inc. Purpose of supporting the Sheriff's Office Shop with the Cop, $3,000 from Bank First, $2,500 from Peterson Chrysler, $1,586 from Community Foundation of Central Wisconsin for the dive team, as well as $2,500 from Peterson Chrysler Dodge, again for the Sheriff's Office for the K-9 unit. Total amount is $10,586 will be placed in a donation restricted account. Can I have a motion to accept that?
So moved, Johnson.
Is there a second to that?
Seconds.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comments on it? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you for that. Any supervisor reports? Anyone go to any particular training or meetings or anything you want to bring up? Hearing none, we will certainly accept the motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we'll make that motion.
Johnson, second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have to have you sign off here, guys, before you leave.
Got it.
Kim, how many dogs are in this?